Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the prelim fights for UFC 228, Woodley versus Till. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the prelims and our first fight on the card. So in our first fight, we have in the welterweight division, Jeff Neal versus Frank Camacho. Frank Camacho, he loves to bang, and that could be to his detriment or to his benefit. If you bang with him, he could give and take it, where most likely his opponents can't give and take it. He has a hard chin, he has some heavy hands, and he's very durable. And that's hard to deal with, especially trying to bang with him. But also to his detriment, a lot of times people don't just oblige with it every time, and that's how you lose decisions sometimes, because they're not standing to bang with you and they're point fighting, they're trying to actually game plan for you, and you're just kind of trying to bang with everybody the same way. Then, like I said, you're going to end up on the wrong side of a decision. That's how often he loses. And I feel like his opponent, Jeff Neal, he has power in his hands and he has solid grappling. And I feel like he can mix it up on Frank Camacho and not really oblige that standing bang. He will, if he sees an open opportunity, he will take it on the feet, but he'll mix it up when needed to win the fight. And I feel like Camacho is savvy on the ground as well, but he doesn't really rely on it too much. But he's good defensively as far as grappling goes. So he'll be able to neutralize, won't at least not get submitted by Neal, and really kind of keep it like neutral on the ground, but Neal will be on the top position when he goes for these takedowns and secure these takedowns. So I think it's more so it's going to go in the route of a decision for Jeff Neal. So in this fight, I have Jeff Neal via decision. Then on to our next fight, we have in the flyweight division, Ryan Benoit versus Roberto Sanchez. Ryan Benoit, very well-rounded fighter. He has a lot of pop in his hands. He has good grappling, good takedowns. Not exactly phenomenal on the ground, but on his feet, I think he has a significant advantage over Roberto Sanchez, who is more so of a grappler. A lot of submissions on his record. But I feel like Ryan Benoit will be the faster fighter, the more well-rounded fighter, be able to shut down these takedowns so that the submissions won't really come into play too much. And I feel like on the feet, Ryan Benoit will light Roberto Sanchez up. And I see a second-round TKO. So in this fight, I have Ryan Benoit via second-round TKO. Then on to our next fight, we have Irene Aldana versus Lucy Pudilova in the women's bantamweight division. And looking at these fighters, both pretty lanky for the weight class. Both seem to be more of strikers. But I feel like Irene Aldana is the better striker. She has much sharper boxing, much faster hands, better footwork, and I feel like she'll be beating Lucy Pudilova to the punch a lot. But I feel like Pudilova is savvy enough on her feet that she won't really allow herself to get caught and wobble too much or in that position where she will get finished. But I feel like Irene Aldana will be able to comfortably outbox her to a decision. So in this fight, I have Irene Aldana via decision. Then on to our next fight, we have in the lightweight division, Jim Miller versus Alex White. And I feel like this is a crossroad fight. I feel like Jim Miller is kind of on his way out. I think he's nearing like 35, 36, definitely like mid-30s. He was like riding a huge winning streak at one point years ago, like a 5-fight winning streak. Then Ben Henderson stopped that and by defeating him via like a dominant decision. I think ever since that point, he's been kind of constantly, slowly sliding down the rankings. He's managed to get some wins here and maybe like a 2-fight winning streak or 1-fight winning streak, but constantly going down the rankings since that point and hasn't really been able to really get back to his form that he once was. And I feel like he's been stagnant, hasn't really been improving too much as far as his overall game. So I think that's a huge factor. A huge factor in this thing is how sharp will Jim Miller be? How hungry will Jim Miller be? If he's hungry and sharp, he should be able to beat Alex White. But if he is anything less than that, any bit dull, I feel like Alex White will beat him. I feel like Alex White has improved. He still has potential to do something in the UFC. I don't know how much potential he has, but he still probably feels that he has potential, and he has improved. He's moved up in weight, put on more mass. He's still improving his overall skills, getting better striking and better grappling. And I think that's going to be a huge factor in this thing. I think Jim Miller definitely has a huge grappling advantage, but I think on the feet, I think it's how will he get it there. I think Alex White will be able to defend the takedowns. He's a well-rounded fighter as well, but Jim Miller does have that grappling advantage, but it's not like he has a huge wrestling advantage. I feel like Alex White will be able to neutralize the takedowns and pretty much tag Jim Miller on the feet. I feel like Alex White is the bigger, younger, stronger fighter. He's more rangy with his punches. Jim Miller does have better kicks, but I feel like Alex White will be able to counter those low kicks with straights. And that's a punch he has very good in his arsenal. And I feel like that will counter a lot of Jim Miller's low kicks and possibly lead to a knockout for Alex White. So in this fight, I just feel like Alex White is going to be able to defend the takedowns, beat Jim Miller to the punch, land on him clean. And I feel like around the second round, that would be the finish. Where the finish will happen, I see Alex White via second round TKO. So in this fight, I have Alex White via second round TKO. Then on to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, Diego Sanchez versus Craig White. A very weird fight. I feel like Craig White is a very big welterweight. He only really got in the UFC because they were in his neck of the woods in like Europe or whatever, or England. And Neil Magny needed a late replacement opponent, so he stepped in. It wasn't because he was so amazing or impressed the UFC so much that he got a UFC invite. It was more so because he stepped in and helped the UFC keep a fight on the card. That's why he's in the UFC. He's a very big fighter. Not the most talented, not the most technical, but he's a very big fighter, and he's still a decent fighter in all. Then you got Diego Sanchez, a long-time UFC fighter, all the way back to UFC 1, was Ultimate Fighter winner in the middleweight division. Very good grappling, but over the years, for a long time, he has kind of fallen to just be a stand and bang fighter. Never really not even the most technical striker. Just kind of swings punches, relies on his chins, and make ugly fights. When he was at probably his best, he was most promising in the welterweight division, is when he used grappling, but he's gotten away from that. But I feel like he will use that in this fight. Craig White will have a huge height advantage, huge reach advantage, and he will have a huge just overall size advantage. I feel like Diego Sanchez will go to his grappling. I feel like if Craig White was actually kind of on this caliber or of a decent caliber, he'll be able to pick apart Diego Sanchez. But I feel like he'll probably oblige Diego Sanchez. He will oblige in the brawl. He won't use his height as much as he should. He'll probably allow Diego Sanchez to get in on these takedowns. I feel like it'll be an ugly fight because of the size discrepancy, but Craig White will lose this fight because he will just be making mistakes, I feel, and allowing Diego Sanchez to get too close, get in on these takedowns, secure these takedowns, and use his superior grappling to win a decision. I don't think it's going to be a dominant decision. I don't think it's going to be crazy, nothing, but I think it's going to be like one of those kind of like sloppy, ugly fights, but Diego Sanchez is going to be winning due to securing the takedowns and, I guess, dominating the grappling aspects of the fight. So in this fight, I have Diego Sanchez via decision. Then on to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Jimmy Rivera versus John Dodson. I'm not sure why this fight isn't what's called a free TV FX headliner. Like, I don't know why it isn't. Like, they got Alexander versus Nico Price ahead of it. They got this Bird versus Stewart fight ahead of it. When Rivera versus Dodson, I feel like it's a much better fight than Sterling versus Stanman. But I'm not the one who makes the fight card, so I'm just gonna predict the fight where it is placed on the card. So we got Jimmy Rivera versus John Dodson. So let's predict it. I think Jimmy Rivera, very solid fighter, very gritty fighter. He is technical, but a lot of times his style really relies on him being aggressive, getting in your face, taking a punch to give a punch. He's not afraid to get hit, not afraid to give a punch, not afraid to take it, get in your face. Technically got good elbows, pretty decent leg kicks, a lot of power, a lot of explosiveness. Doesn't mix the takedowns too much. So I feel like against John Dodson, it's going to be pretty much more so relying on striking more than anything. I don't think wrestling's going to play too much of a factor, though. They might throw it in to mix it up, but I feel more so it's going to be a striking match. And also, John Dodson has pretty good takedown defense. I don't think Jimmy Rivera, if he even wanted to, would have much success taking him down. With how good his takedown defense and how much faster he is, it's going to be hard to take him down if he wants to go that route. John Dodson, I think he might be able to get a takedown on Jimmy Rivera, but I don't feel like he won't really need to do it, except maybe and then a chance he gets rocked or something, he'll go for a takedown. But in this fight, I feel like Jimmy Rivera is going to be trying to do what he always does. He's going to try to get in John Dodson's face, try to hit him hard, try to make it a fight, make it a war. But I feel like John Dodson's going to be the much more technical fighter, much faster fighter, and he actually going to be the fighter with more power. So faster, more technical, harder hitting. Only difference is going to be a little bit smaller. So I feel like John Dodson, every time Jimmy Rivera tries to come in, John Dodson will be able to dart in and out, hit him with big shots, probably drop him a couple times when he comes in. And I just feel like John Dodson is the superior fighter in this matchup. And I feel we'll see a second round. Let me see. I see a third round stoppage for John Dodson. I see it's definitely going to be some back and forth. It's not going to be no easy fight, but I feel like John Dodson will be getting the better of it. He'll be landing more shots faster. He'll be landing more shots because he's more technical. And he'll be landing the more significant shots because he hits harder. So I feel John Dodson will be winning the fight up until the stoppage, and I'll see him stopping Jimmy Rivera in the third. So in this fight, I have John Dodson via third round TKO. Then on to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Nico Price. So Abdul Razak Al Hassan, what does he really do? He looks impressive. He looks intimidating. Throws a lot of heavy shots, but does he hit as hard as he should hit? Not really. He does got a lot of power. He is pretty explosive, but not very technical. Pretty telegraphed with a lot of stuff he does. Not as very conservative with his cardio. Not very mindful of a lot of things. I feel like Nico Price is a much more, even though he kind of gets wild at times and does have some awkward type of striking, I feel like he has more purpose to his striking. He has more intention to his striking. I feel like he has a much better grappling, much better control of his cardio, much better presence or like a mind where he's at in the fight. And I feel like he might even have more power than Abdul Razak Al Hassan. I think Abdul Razak Al Hassan loads up on a lot of shots. He doesn't have like that power where he just hits you and makes you hurt. He has to load up on shots. Whereas like Nico Price has that weird power. He doesn't have to necessarily have a lot of like wind up on a lot of shots to have power. And I feel like he'll be able to catch Abdul Razak Al Hassan when he's like loading up and just hit him with a short shot and drop him and probably either submit him or TKO him. So in this fight, I feel like that's what's going to happen. I feel like Abdul's going to be loading up and Nico Price is going to take advantage of that. He's going to be the bigger fighter. He's going to be the more technical fighter. If he wants to, he'll make it a grappling fight, but I feel like he's just going to take advantage of him on the feet, drop him, then submit him. And I see a first round submission for Nico Price. So in this fight, I have Nico Price via first round submission. Then on to our next fight, we have in the middleweight division, Charles Byrd versus Darren Stewart. Charles Byrd, very solid fighter, decent striking, but even better grappling. I think that's where his bread and butter is at. He's pretty good at grappling, has a high submission success rate, and he has a high finishing rate overall. But I think what's going to play the biggest factor in this fight is UFC octagon experience. I feel like Charles Byrd actually has more fights than Darren Stewart, but Darren Stewart has more fights in the UFC versus higher caliber opponents. And I feel like that's going to be the biggest factor. I feel like Charles Byrd, on the feet, he'll be respectable, but he's going to need to get to the ground if he wants to win. And I feel like Darren Stewart has very good hips, good takedown defense. And on the feet, I feel like he's a better striker, more technical striker, faster striker, and he hits harder. I feel like he's going to be able to spin the takedowns, spin off most of the takedowns. Then on the feet, I feel like he's going to be able to land that power, land those kicks. Like, yeah, he got hard body kicks as well. Land hard body kicks, land hard shots to the dome. And I feel like Charles Byrd is only going to be able to take so much damage, so much punishment. And I see a second round stoppage. So in this fight, I have Darren Stewart via second round TKO. Then on to our pretty much prelim headline. I already predicted this fight. We have, the bantamweight division, Aljamain Sterling versus Cody Stamann. I already predicted on my main card predictions for UFC 228, but I would just give you like a summary of this fight pick. I feel like Cody Stamann, he's a solid fighter, very solid fighter. But what he really gets him by is his durability, his toughness, his gas tank. He often starts out the fight losing, but he wins because his opponents start to slow down and he keeps the same pace. Like, they slow down, he keeps the same pace, or he gets stronger. Like, he keeps going. He might not get the takedown early. He might be getting a takedown early. Stuff might not be going his way to start, but eventually things start to go his way. And I feel like Aljamain Sterling is the better grappler, the better wrestler, the better striker, the better overall fighter everywhere, except maybe gas tank and durability. That's where I see Stamann being the better fighter in those areas, those like two areas. But I feel like Aljamain Sterling, he's gonna look at the tape, and he lost a fight in the past to somebody because he started too early and kind of burned himself out. So he's already been in a similar situation. He's gonna take it slow. He's gonna be able to beat Stamann on the feet, mix up the grappling, and just, I think, dominate the fight smart. He's not gonna burn himself out trying to go desperate for a finish or try to get some impressive thing. He's gonna know he has to go out there and fight smart to beat Stamann. Don't burn himself out, and just win a smart fight. I feel like it's gonna be a decision. It's not gonna be a knockout. It's not gonna be a submission. It's gonna be a smart fought decision. So in this fight, I have Aljamain Sterling via decision. So that completes my prelim predictions for UFC 228, Woodley versus Till. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.